He has ramping reality warps that persist throughout the quest. Makes him an absolutely exceptional Everest champion and an incursions monster. One of the best incursions champions in the entire game. He goes...
So I just want to give you guys my thoughts when it comes to Sentry's buff. Is he worth ranking up? So I'm just going to give you guys a short answer. Is no. You know, I've been saying this in my channel plenty of times, and don't believe everything you see in social media, okay? And you know, there's a saying, practice what you preach, and I didn't do that. I failed to do that. As you heard from Karate Mike, this Sentry guy is so good, right? So good, okay? So let's take a look at some things as well in social media, what they think about Sentry. Here you go from Nagasi. Look at this. Absolute God. Sentry solos 11 Necropolis fight. Get even more damage. Beyond God tier. Easy ramp up champion. Okay, this is from Nagasi. So let's look at MSD. What does he think about it? So this comes from MSD. Ramping Sentry has never been easier. Full ramp up breakdown. So I don't know if you noticed this, but the people that I showed you are the best players in the world, okay? They're not your average player. So an average player compared to the best players in the world are not the same thing. I've been preaching that in my in my channel all the time. Okay? So I just want to say something about that. Let me pause the video. So this guy made a comment on MSD channels. He said, something I didn't understand is how much dying impacts his ability to ramp up. As an average player who will slip up and die 4 to 5 times in a necro fight, it is hard to maintain the ramp. Okay? These people that are, you know, in social media, like these YouTubers, they don't know how an average player plays. What do they know, right? And I believe in the hype, even though when I read his abilities, I thought he was a good buff, but not like the best buff, like not like Mr. Sinister buff, but I believed in the hype. This guy, I listened to these best players in the world. Yeah, dude, easy ramp up, absolute god tier from Nagasi, incursion monster, Everest content, and why don't we check out some gameplay from an average player? So this is my gameplay as an average player, okay? This is how I play Sentry as an average player. Again, there's so many bad things about this guy. It's like, one thing, he's not damage mastery friendly. Then again, how many champions in Necropolis are damage mastery friendly? There's probably Aegon, of course, and then there's Mr. Sinister. I don't really know anybody other than that. But yeah, he's not damage mastery friendly. As you can see, I'm losing health the entire fight because he's not damage mastery friendly. You have to pretty much play almost perfectly to ramp this guy up. The biggest flaw I think to this guy is, like, if you lose a fight, you lose a charge. Like, why? What's the reason behind that? It makes absolutely no sense. Like, does Hercules lose a charge when he loses a fight? Does Aegon lose a charge when he loses a fight? Does Corvus Glaive lose a charge when he loses a fight? No, right? So I have no idea why you lose a charge when you lose a fight. If he didn't lose a charge, if he lose a fight, I think he could be somewhat decent. Like, he'll be a much better buff. Maybe he'll get a synergy from that for that, or hopefully he gets a buffs that doesn't lose his charge, hopefully. But it's just like, this guy is supposed to be like great for Necropolis, right? And his ease of use is 4 out of 5, so he's supposed to be easy to use, right? It shouldn't be like the best player in the world to play with him, and it looks like you have to when it comes to Necropolis. I should read not just from me, but from that guy that made said average player. It takes 45 revives to use this guy, and how you can you ramp him up if you're gonna lose 4 or 5 charges in him in every fight in Necropolis? That makes no sense. Like, why do you lose the charge? I don't understand that part. Really, it makes no sense. Like like an average player will probably need a 7-star rank 6 sig 200 sentry to actually be able to become decent in Necropolis. By then, nobody's want to play Necropolis. The rewards were not going to be worth playing. Maybe a 7-star rank 4 sig 200 Sentry, then he'll become decent for even an average player, but that's gonna take practice. Now, I don't want to say like, oh, Sentry, you're not gonna be good with Sentry no matter what, but I'm not gonna say that because you can get better with Sentry. If you're like, copy the best players in the world where they play 8 hours a day. Okay, keep in mind these guys also been playing this game for 10 years. Okay, so, especially if you're a new player, which probably a different topic, can a new player ever catch up to the best players in the world who's been playing for 10 years, 8 hours a day? Uh, I don't know. That's hard to say, right? So keep in mind, these are people that play this game 8 hours a day for 10 years. So, you know, and if you want to become the best player in the world, that's what you got to do, right? Um, and for an average player who wants to play like 30 minutes a day or less, it shouldn't have to be that way. And they made this super daily event where they want people to play 30 minutes a day or even less. Like, how can you give champions that are difficult to use if that's what you want from people to play this game? It makes no sense. Some champions require lots and lots of practice if you want to be good with them, and most people don't care about those things. As somebody who teaches math, you know, before COVID, I was so hardcore when it comes to like students, like, oh, do math 40 hours a week, kind of thing. Like, I always thought, imagine, like, how would the world be if people study 40 hours a week of doing math? The world would be so much better. Then after COVID, I kind of, I did get lazy, of course, but I was like, you know what? I can't force people if they don't want to do math. Not everybody's going to be a math teacher or a math major, so it's okay. I feel like the same thing in the game. Not everybody's going to be the best player in the world, so I don't understand for Kabam to make these type of champions. To be honest, they're difficult to use. Like, give us some champions that are easy to use, like Hulk, Angela, you know. And if you're wondering, okay, um, do running damage mastery. Okay, here, this is from my free-to-play account. I'm not running damage mastery, and I'm also using a 7-star. It is rank 1 though, but I'm not using damage mastery for people saying, oh, you're running damage mastery. I always do in my pay-to-win account. So this is my free-to-play account, and I'm not running damage mastery. Let's see how it is. So, I said, if you're an average player and you're not going to spend 8 hours a day playing Sentry, is he worth ranking up? I don't think so, because the skill requirement for this champion is it's tough. It's not easy. All I can tell you, it requires a lot of practice to use him. In Necropolis, I guess 7-star rank 6 sig 200 Sentry will become soloable fights in Necropolis, but that's gonna be a long time from now. So, what else do I want to say? Something else I want to say is this right here. Uh, so this video comes from MSD. It said 15 amazing champions for beginners and average players. I'm like, okay, like, how does this guy know how an average player plays, right? It's like me saying like, oh man, this actually gives me the motivation to make video on like what are the best champions for the best players in the world, right? If you can make a list for beginners, why can't I make a list for best champions for best players in the world, right? Of course I wouldn't do that. Why would I do that? That's just silly. That's not part of my category. I don't belong in that category, so why would I make that video? So I don't understand this video, but perhaps I'll do like a reaction video when it comes to this on his list. I don't know, but it's kind of silly how the best player in the world wants to make a list for beginners. Like, what does he know how a beginner plays or an average player? It makes absolutely no sense to me, to be honest. Okay, so when it comes to incursions, shoot, where's mine? Okay, so he's that's really the biggest reason why I rank up Sentry is for incursion, and he's not bad, but he's not really that good. He's okay, but there's so many champions better than him. Uh, the biggest problem is when it comes to his debuffs. Like, he'll be really great with title combat if it expired right away, like similar to Silk. I'm not gonna get too much details on it, um, but it takes too long for his debuffs to expire, so title combat becomes almost useless for this guy, and all the hacks that he get, like perpetual offense, that's like permanent the entire fight. Yet if he throws a special attack, it turns it into a Fury buff, which is only like 13% of your attack. Like, why? And in title combat, you're supposed to get a Fury buff that increases your attack by 35%. But then if you throw your special attack, it turns into a passive Fury, which is increase your attack by 13%. So you're losing attack by throwing your special attack because he converts it to a Fury, a passive. Not to mention, there's hacks in incursion where you increase your potency by 40%. So you're practically like losing you're practically from like a fourth of the damage in incursion, because when you throw your buffs, it turns to passive. It's just so dumb. Like, the only good thing I can say about Sentry in incursion is he doesn't need hacks in incursion to be good. He just needs him to be ramp up, preferably obviously 10 charges. That's the only positive thing I could when it comes to incursion. And you can see this fight right here, it is so slow. Almost 90 seconds for a 1.1 just over 1.1 million health. That is so slow, especially in incursion. Like, if you think, oh, you just suck with Sentry, you don't know how to play. Okay, let's take a look at somebody who's he's also using title combat as well as I was using title combat. He's just terrible with it. Let's look at somebody who's on the like one of the best alliance in the game for Loki. Okay, it took him 1 minute with a 7-star rank 3 with class advantage. Okay, and he has Mr. Fantastic Synergy. And look at the health pool, 526,000. If you think I suck with Sentry, this guy is one of the best. I don't say one of the best players in the world, but he belongs in one of the best alliance in the world. And look at this, 526,000 health. It takes 1 freaking minute with 7-star rank 3 with class advantage. You know how slow that is? It's ridiculous. As far as the gameplay goes, about my video, I haven't thought about, like, because people have been asking me like I should do a recap, like talk while I'm doing the video. There's many reasons why I don't like talking when I make the video, but because when I see people play, when I see people do some gameplay, I'm more interested on the gameplay. I'm not really too interested on the talk, and especially when they show their face. That is so annoying to me, because I'm not here to look at your face. I'm here to see the gameplay. And not only that, they freaking like black like almost half of the screen. You know what this is what I'm talking about. Okay, right here, you can't even see the time because he's blocking, like, I wouldn't say half of the screen, that's hyperbole, but you can't even see the time because he's blocking the screen. That's why I don't really talk in my videos, and I don't do face thing, or face whatever, because it just annoys. Like when I watch people showing their face, I'm not there to look at your face. I'm I'm there to look at the gameplay, and you can't even see the time because his face is blocking the gameplay. Yeah. So what else? So yeah, when it comes to Sentry rank up, he's, I would say, one of the, if I think the biggest regret I have to ranking up. There's a saying, practice what you preach. I didn't do that. Don't believe everything you see in social media, and I didn't follow through. And I personally don't mind taking him to SIG 200 because it doesn't really need it. That's probably good. If you do have the 7-star, probably just dupe SIG 20 or even just SIG 1 is going to help him a lot, or for incursions. But uh, yeah, I think mostly because you know what? When it comes to my, what do you call this? That's probably the biggest reason why I'm still Valiant. I mean, why I'm still Paragon is I can get 6 stones. As you can see, I'm going to have 44 on the overflow. It's easy for me to get 6 stones, 6 stars as a Paragon, okay? So it doesn't really bother me too much that I invested 206 stones on him. What bothers me is like ascending him as a 6-star and using a rank 5 gem on him. That was felt like, rank 5 materials as a 6-star. It's like, okay. Like I said, don't listen to everything you see in social media, and this is one of my biggest regret rank ups in the game. Thank you.